everyone, welcome to week 2 of Tarot Spirit class. My name is Brooke. Thank you so much for joining me. This week I'm going to be talking about prayer and the importance of protection with prayer and doing readings. Personally, I send up a prayer before each reading, whether it's privately or in my readings or whether it's publicly on YouTube, as well as a closing prayer of thanks at the end of each reading. Prayer for me has been a constant force, especially in terms of protection. There's many types of prayers. There's many ways of praying. It's not necessarily devoted to one particular faith or one particular religion. But for me personally, I always start off with prayer. In the past, I didn't do this, and I noticed after heavy readings with clients or even doing readings on YouTube, my energies were very much scattered. Strange things were happening in my house. It might sound a little strange, but there is some sort of spiritual wall that I believe, especially if you're using any form of divination, any tool of divination, especially if you're calling upon any sort of source or any sort of, or sending up an intention of some kind, it's always a good idea to psychically and spiritually protect yourself, especially doing this type of work. Because as a reader in particular, whether you identify as an intuitive reader or whether you identify as a psychic reader, you're really tapping into something that perhaps is unseen in the physical world, and you're reaching another spiritual plane, I believe, especially if you're receiving messages from your guides or from spirit or from divine source or whatever it is that's helping you and assisting you intuitively. And it's very important to incorporate modes of prayer, especially making sure that you do this not only to ask for guidance or to ask for assistance, but to really protect yourself. So what I do is I always send up a prayer after I ground and center and do a short meditation to make sure that anything that's on my mind or anything that's happening in the outside world of my life is not intruding with its thoughts or with its images, and just kind of a clean slate for myself. So when I send up a prayer, I always call upon God, and I'm very much into pagan religion, so I also believe that God has a counterpart or a partner, which is Goddess. I always call up upon the angels and the archangels. I always call upon Archangel Michael in particular because he's very much a warrior and a protector. And I always ask for his assistance in not disturbing or preventing any disturbances in my surroundings and where I am when I'm doing a reading. I also call upon my guardian angel. I very much believe in the angelic realm and in the angelic kingdom, and I always call upon my guardian angel as well to be with me during the course of the reading. And then I call upon divine source, and this is interpreted as divine source in terms of something higher than us that is the universe or is up in the ether or whatever you want to call it. So I always call upon divine source to assist me in any images, words, initials, dates, anything that will help me connect, whether it's reading publicly on YouTube or privately with a client. Now, when I read privately with a client, whether it's in person or whether it's through live telephone or Skype or even doing private videos, and every reader's different in terms of what they deliver, I always ask to connect to that client's guardian angel, because the connection is kind of like an invisible cord which kind of plugs me in to their energy, which helps me connect and validate with what's happening with them presently as well as the past and potential future, especially if I'm doing predictive readings. Not every tarot reader does predictive readings. I do a lot of predictive readings, or many people come to me, as I'm sure many readers are watching, for predictive readings. The misconception, however, of the tarot or any kind of divination tool is it's not necessarily based for predictive readings, but that's kind of like the fortune telling aspect of it. So I always make sure to send up a prayer, or if I'm in public doing a reading with a client, I will pray with them, and I always ask them if it's okay if I pray. Can we pray together? Because many people may not follow the same code of spiritual ethics, so to speak. So I always make sure that it's okay with them. If we can pray together, I hold their hands, and that makes a connection spiritually. During the course of prayer, I don't rush it. So when you see readings on YouTube, for me especially, it's not like I'm shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Oh, here's the reading, da 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 da, and then I do the reading and it's done. A lot of things go into it. I'm sure many people who are watching can understand. A lot goes into just laying out the cards and seeing what I see and telling everybody what I see. So there's a lot that goes into it for me personally, especially in terms of prayer. Many times after I do prayer, I feel more composed, I feel more calm, I feel more confident. And each and every time I do prayer, my readings go undisturbed. There's not some sort of scattered weird energy after a reading, because you're dealing with heavy emotions. Emotions have energy. People have energy. People have positivity and negativity. So if the reading's very heavy, it's going to kind of linger. It's kind of going to stick to you mentally. So it's very good to practice prayer, not only for yourself spiritually, but also for protection. And after each reading, I always give a prayer of thanks, whether it's mentally in my mind or as a closing prayer with a client. I always give thanks and gratitude to each element or to each spiritual helper or to God and Goddess, thanking each one for their assistance and for their help, because I really feel that if you have a gift for this, that cannot go overlooked or be something that's underappreciated, because it's very much tying into the whole package of being a professional reader, is making sure that you are not only appreciating people in general out in the public eye that support you, but also appreciating and being grateful for your spiritual team, whatever that is for you. So when readers often say, my guides are telling me, or spirit is talking to me, this is something that is not a joke. This is very much something that's real. And I will talk more about that in next week's class, about trusting the message that you receive as you read the cards and do this on a part-time or full-time basis. Trusting the message, trusting the wisdom, trusting the image, trusting the word, whatever it is that's coming to you. So there's many, many, many books about prayer. There's many different types of prayer to incorporate, but you want to make sure that you're praying to something that you believe in your heart first and foremost. And you want to make sure that you're doing it in a sense of a form of protection. Now, I don't sprinkle salt around me in terms of protection. Salt can be very much a tool that many people can use. Sometimes people sprinkle salt around their tarot cards to cleanse them. I don't do that as I read. You could probably do that mentally, or even if you wanted to use something such as that, that's not so much uh, emotional thing. There's many things you can burn, like incense in particular for protection or smudging, but prayer itself is a very powerful tool to use and incorporate in performing readings. And each and every time, once again, that I do incorporate prayer and I'm not rushing, the reading is more smooth, I'm more focused, and it plays a large role in incorporating what I do and getting out the message. So that's what I do as a reader. I wanted to share that with those that are watching, how important prayer is, no matter what your faith is or whether you don't follow a particular path or faith, how important it is to protect yourself in doing this type of work, because it's not something that is uh, like a card trick, or it's not something that is fortune telling, or it's not something that is like, the psychic with her crystal ball. This is something very real, and you can feel it and you can sense it. And it also, I think, prayer really kind of lifts you up for the rest of the day, and it empowers you as well. So I hope you all enjoyed this class this week in terms of prayer. There's many, many books out there about prayer in general. So I hope you enjoyed this class. Thank you so much for those that have watched and commented, and as well thumbs up for for this class about tarot spirit and readings in general. I will see you next week. Everybody take care, and I'll speak to you soon.